My wife told me to put my timer up here because she knew I was going to go too long, but Greg, you opened the door, so I'm in good shape. I know a lot of you, but my name is Brad Crist, and I'm the Booster Club president. And I will have a really hard time introducing myself in 3 minutes, so we're just going to skip over that right now. But more importantly, the Jenkins were friends of our family. When Jeremy came in, he came up with a word. He said different. East Bernard is different. He said, the town is different. The parents are different. I look at you parents out here, and I know that's the truth. He said, the players are different. He said, Brad, the food is different. He said, what is a Klobuchnitsky? It's different. And Jeremy said, not different in a bad way, but different in a great way. I'm going to stand up here today, and I'm going to tell you that Brandy and Jeremy Jenkins are different. They're different in a great way. If you want to know why they're different, look no further than us having to have a church in Sugar Land, Texas, to hold the people here to celebrate their lives. You want to know how they're different? Look at the candlelight vigil last night that there were 600 people at. Congregations came together last night that don't hardly wave at each other sometimes. But they came together last night because the Jenkins were different. The thing that I take out of this tragedy, and there is no other word for it other than a tragedy. But what this tragedy showed our state, I'm going to go one better, our country, that there is good and there is love out there beyond whatever we can think. You think of the jerks, we spend a lot of time talking about them, but today we're talking about good people. And we're talking about how those people affected the state of Texas. I got calls from John Deere dealers in North Carolina this week saying they saw it on the news and how they were praying for this family and praying for East Bernard, Texas. That is how they affected people. That is how they are different. They were different, and they were different in a great way. Today we get to celebrate them. I didn't know Brandy well, but I do know that we were waiting for her to come into town, and my wife Kathy said, Jeremy, I'm really looking forward to meeting Brandy. He said, well, Brandy's a good time. We got home and I thought, golly, they are East Texas. What does that mean? But you know what? He was spot on. Brandy Jenkins was a good time. Everybody, these ladies did a tremendous job talking about it, but I want to say one thing. I want to say it to you three boys right here. Courtney Wilcox is subbing in her class right now. And she told Kathy, she said, Brandy had one thing in the corner of her room. She had a Bible, and she had a bunch of pictures of you boys. She put the first things first. She put God, his son, Jesus Christ, and you three boys on top of everything. And when it gets tough, I want you to remember that because your mom loved you dearly. Jeremy Jenkins is my friend. We talked, and I know people said he didn't talk much. We talked at least once a week. Might be text, might be a phone call, but we talked. I truly thought he was using me to get to my football acumen. I thought he was going to ask me to design blitzes, coverages, a lot of different things that I was ready for. And as I'm preparing for this speech, or this talk, or whatever you want to call it, I got to thinking, he never once asked me about football. You know what we talked about? This is crazy, you guys. This is crazy. We talked about selling tractors. We talked about what cotton prices were. He wanted to know what was going on at John Deere. Jeremy didn't want to talk about football. This man had the greatest job in the world from my perspective, and he wanted to talk about what was going on with me, talk about my job. He'd ask me about my kids. Keep in mind, he only knew 2 of the 6, but he'd ask about them. Didn't ask me about football. Greg, he talked about you. And let me tell you, you sold yourself way short last night when we talked about that state championship. You said you had good talent. Well, I'm going to tell you, your brother said that you could win with any talent. He bragged on you, my friend, and it was special. Talked about Brandy, how excited they were to be in East Bernard and how great it was to be there. But where we always ended the conversation is we would talk about Jake and Tyson and Gage. Somebody mentioned it, guys. He's a great coach, but it was you guys is what he lived for. You boys were his favorite subject, not sports, not football, his boys. That was his passion. Jeremy was never the football coach to me. He was my friend. He wasn't arrogant or standoffish. He was open and honest. And some of you know, Andy Mangum, I know you know, he was brutally honest. He told me one time he never met anyone that liked to hear the sound of their voice more than I do. I laughed. That's a funny joke, right? He said, I'm serious. You talk way too much. When we'd talk on the phone, this is no joke, we'd be talking and I would just about ready to enlighten him with some real knowledge. And he'd say, okay, gotta go, and just click. Brutally honest. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm talking to all you guys wearing these jerseys right now. Jeremy loved to coach. He loved to compete, and he loved to win. But he loved you guys more. He loved his players, everybody that's played for him. Harmony, Tenaha, Melissa, whatever schools I'm forgetting. He loved you players. He coached them hard, and he praised them harder. Same thing he did with his assistant coaches. Jeremy Jenkins was a heck of a coach, but I'm here to tell you, he was a better man and a better friend to me. Like I said, if you want to know what kind of people the Jenkins are, just look around. God, we've been blessed by them. Look at the lives they've touched, and I know, for one, I'm a better person for knowing them. Thank you, God, for giving us Jeremy and Brandy, albeit not long enough, but we are sure better because they were in our lives.